It's Mark again from One Stop and Ian here from Gas.
How do we go?
In this video we're just going to talk to you about grow room odours, how they're a big concern for the customers and what you can do to control them, and a little bit of troubleshooting towards the end if you've got all this stuff in place and you're still suffering. So first and foremost, carbon filters. Carbon filters do 99.9% of odour control and what we need. There's various brands out on the market, but Ian's going to explain about what makes Carbo Air better.
So we introduced Carbo Air into the market round about 2 years ago. This filter's got a lot of pedigree. It's been manufactured in Holland for the last 30 years. The manufacturer manufactured multiple different brands, but basically what we did, we went to a manufacturer and said, right, with certain things we need to tick, and we want to make sure that we get everything we need in a carbon filter. So basically we started with a pre-filter, make sure that the pre-filter is not really thin or really thick so it doesn't let any airflow through. So we chose this pre-filter material, which is perfect for allowing airflow through but collecting dust. So as the dust basically penetrates the filter, it's collected in the pre-filter and not damaging the carbon. Then we looked at the mesh. Basically, this mesh looks slightly different to the mesh you've probably seen on other filters. It's a really fine mesh, but basically by having this fine mesh, we actually managed to get more surface area. We've got about 55.5% surface area, meaning 55% of the whole surface lets air travel through it. That coupled with the carbon that we use, which is a larger pore carbon. It's like a 4/8, an RC4/8, which basically means it's an inch divided by 4, which is the biggest piece, or an inch divided by 8, which is the smallest piece. We don't get any dust in these filters because we use a very large carbon. Also, we looked at the size of a carbon bed. We do a 50, 60 and 100 mil bed. Normal use is around about 50 mil. If you've got a high pressure fan like the Revolution fans, then we suggest always use a 60 mil. If you want to scrub the air or using really high pressure fans, we do have a 100 mil bed. But basically the 100 mil bed is best for scrubbing rooms. So that you've got a fan and filter combination sat in the room, bringing airflow through the filter, just basically scrubbing the air, getting rid of any odours that you don't want leaving the room. So then we basically sent every single filter to System Air. System Air is a massive fan manufacturer in Germany, and they tested every single fan and filter combination so that we know every single filter matches every single fan. All the neck sizes match every single fan on the market. So basically putting all this together into a filter gives you, in my opinion, the best filter on the market at the time. It's pressure tested, it's airflow tested, the carbon is batch tested so we know what carbon's in here. It's basically putting everything you need in a filter and allowing it to go out there. It's the best filter on the market by a mile.
The nice thing is as well is it's been, Ian and his team have made it really easy. No matter what fan you've got, they've got recommendations to the correct size filter to use. It's on our website, have a look at these guys, but literally it's what fan have I got, what filter do we need, bang, done, job's the uncle. The next thing to talk about is ozone generators though. There's two different types that are generally on the market. I'm not saying there's lots of brands as well, but there's basically inline and in room. Obviously this one you would just plug into a room, turn it on. Ideally stick it on a timer because obviously there is no real control about this. We would recommend turning it off for a little bit before you go in the room as well, just to let the concentration of ozone dissipate a little bit.
Yeah.
Then we've got the inline ones, which I'm going to hand over to Ian to talk about.
Yeah, like you say, there's two versions of ozone generators. There's in room and inducting. So what you do with this one, you basically connect it after the fan. So you have a filter, fan, and then the ozone generator, and then at least 5 meters of ducting after the ozone generator. This is so basically the ozone has time to mix in with the air, destroy the odour before it's released outside.
Cool. So that's ozone. I hope we've explained roughly how they work. I hope we've sort of relayed any fears on that one. We have also then got little deodorizers like Honor, this brand. It's basically an odour neutralizer. Literally all you got to do is take the cap off, expose it to the air. It's got agents in there that do a similar job as what ozone does.
It bonds to the smell, yeah.
They're not a replacement to the extraction. They're nowhere near as good as these. You know, most people I know who buy these have them out in a hallway outside a grow room or something like that, just to catch any sort of
leakage smells and things like that. So,
Yeah, really good, cheaper alternative
Yeah.
to ozone, basically.
The next one we really need to talk about is negative pressure, because that's going to be important more than anything else. So.
Yeah, a lot of people have. They do all this. They put the fans, the filters, the ozone, the honour. They do all this in the rooms, and they still get a smell. They still get an odour escaping from a room.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of reasons to this, but one of the main reasons is pressure, negative and positive pressure. You're always trying to create negative pressure. So basically, your fan and filter combination is taking more air out of the room
Than you're bringing in.
in.
Yeah.
So you're basically creating a vacuum. So that means that you've got a vacuum within the grow room. Nothing can escape out of the grow room unless it comes through a filter first.
It's really easy to see in a tent if you've got positive or negative. Obviously, in a tent, you can see if you've got negative, the sides will come in a little bit. If you're positive, your sides are going to come out.
Will just blow out like this.
Yeah. Obviously, in a non-tent room, that's going to be harder to see.
Normally, you see that with a door. So basically, if you find it a little bit harder to open the door, it means you've got positive pressure.
Yeah.
If you've got negative pressure when you open the door, you can open the door a little bit easier.
Yeah. So that explains sort of negative pressure for you guys out there who weren't sure about it. It's there is other ways of controlling it, but simple ways is a larger outtake than an intake.
Yeah.
And then there is fan controllers with balancers that allow you to actually manually control that and set it up yourself as well.
Yeah, and you can actually allow for the fan just to bring air in naturally into your room. You don't always have to blow air into the room.
Yeah.
You can open the flaps, open these vents, and that will allow air naturally to come into the room, and then basically out of your fan and filter combination away. Don't worry if these are open, because you're going to create a negative pressure, so you're always going to be sucking out rather than blowing out.